Hello, all you hardcores out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Focus Corner, biggest gob in sport, part 2 with Terry. Uh, just waiting for Terry to log on now. He should be here in a second. So, some interesting chat tonight. You were saying, Terry, regarding the Irish wars and whatnot.
What was that?
Well, we're talking about were you talking about your history when you were?
Yeah, it's just saying if people really knew the history of this country and the messed up stuff they did, and how Britain really exacerbated the Irish potato famine and all of that sort of stuff, and the damage that did to a whole country, you'd have a different perspective on the world. I think sometimes this country just teaches, yeah, we had an empire, and the empire was a good thing for everybody, although it wasn't. A lot of people died unnecessarily. A lot of human rights abuses happened. Then they teach you, yeah, we won 2 wars against Germany, one against Argentina. You're like, well, the Americans helped us in both wars. And after the second one, the Americans basically said, you can't have your empire anymore if you want our money. And we said, oh, yeah, we'll take your money, but we'll still try and have an empire. And then the Americans said, hey, people in the empire, we're going to give you money to resist these guys. Loads of stuff in the history, which is interesting. And I think if Britain didn't portray its own history like a fairy tale, we'd have a different perspective on so many things politically. And more importantly, we'd stop voting for the same idiots.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've never seen close to knuckle comments like I've. It's a pretty serious. I mean, Ireland's not one of them places where you want to go on an 18 to 30, is it? I mean, when I was a kid growing up, I mean, a lot of people go to Dublin on stag doors and that now, but all I remember growing up seeing Ireland were like when Barry McGuigan were fighting, were like tanks driving by people's houses and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So they've had a terrible time, haven't they? Really?
Yeah, so the northern bit, yeah. I think like Dublin's still quite rough. I remember going down to visit some mates in Dublin, and I was in Glasnevin, which I think is northern suburbs. Mate, I didn't know how crazy Dublin got. I was like, oh my god, this stuff really pops off in Dublin. You got to be careful around there. So yeah, it's an experience.
Yeah. Anthony Yarde, what's happening with him at the moment, Terry?
They'll maneuver him into another world title position, but he can't fight Beterbiev again, right? So it kind of leaves Bivol, but I don't think Bivol is ideal for him. So I genuinely think the plan with Yarde was to let Beterbiev unify, scatter the belts, and position him to fight for one of those belts. I think that remains the plan. Yarde won't fight anyone of note until the belts become free.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You reckon he's waiting for WBO?
Any of them. Like he'd quite rightly be, if all 4 belts were scattered today, he'd fight for one of them, and he'd be highly ranked in all the organizations. So I think he'd be all right. So you look at maybe. I think there's some guys who are a bit wrong for him. I think if you got a high work rate, you're all wrong for Yarde. If you try and like outbox him and outskill him, yeah, he'll deal with you easily.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
He's got some power though, hasn't he, Yarde?
Yes. But remember, as you get older, that kind of athletic, explosive ability starts to go. And he's getting to that period now where it's going to start to go. And so he's going to have to rely more on fundamentals than he is on being a really good athlete.
Yeah, well, I rate him, me, but I just think that his CV's a bit threadbare, isn't it, really? Do you think? As
He's
regards,
been well, you look at it another way, Russ. He's been well managed. He's fought for a world title twice without having to go to hell and back, really. So fair
yeah,
play to him.
yeah, he's earned a few quid, hasn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, he has been. He's been managed financially well, but I want to see him get some trophies now. Do you know what I mean? Kind of.
Yes. But okay, Russ, you're managing Anthony Yarde right now. You're saying your two options for being a world champion are Beterbiev or Bivol. You're going to sit it out for a while, right? You're like, God, let's wait. Let's just wait.
Yeah, you're going to do, aren't you?
Yeah.
So that fights them. If I were going to fight one of them two, Bivol's at his peak, but he's not a massive puncher, but he's enough to hurt you. He's not a massive puncher like Beterbiev. Beterbiev, you want him to get old, and he could get old at any time in that Callum Smith fight, couldn't he? How do you see that fight going?
I think Beterbiev will stop Callum Smith.
I do, but Callum Smith can punch. Frotch were telling me a couple of weeks ago, he says he can whack him,
Really?
He says he can punch, yeah, he says he can really punch. But who have we seen him beat? He fought George Groves, didn't he? George
With
Groves.
one arm.
That's his best win. After that, you're looking at Rocky Fielding and Hassan and Dam for the three champions or former champions on his record. It's very threadbare to say he's
Why doesn't he get the same stick Yarde gets?
Because he's not he's not one of them. Right? Well, Yarde doesn't shoot his mouth off either, but I think Yarde personally gets stick because of his trainer. He's outspoken, isn't he? Tunde Ajayi. If it's not lions in the camp, it's dream it, believe it, become it. And I think that kind of talk gets on people's tits. And that's why.
Okay. But let's look at it like this.
Yeah.
Anthony Yarde went from a kid who did athletics and a bit of football to being a boxer who's fought for a world title twice against men who we will acknowledge are killers. One is definitely going in the Hall of Fame. The other has a good argument for going in the Hall of Fame, right?
But didn't Yarde break 11 seconds at 100 meters as a teenager?
Wouldn't surprise me if you could do that now.
That's what I heard. And he had a choice, boxing or sprinting. But he'd have probably looked at that and thought, can I take another second off that time in 5 years without cheating? He probably thought, no. And that's probably why he took boxing up. But that's what I heard. He had a choice and that he was a really good sprinter.
Good at one of them David Haye type guys who just athlete.
Well, David Haye was a sub 21 second 200 meter man, wasn't he, back in the day? Because
he wasn't. Wait, hold on. That's a John Regis time. Like 20.97 is a John Regis time.
That's the guy I've seen him training with, or is it some AD guy or something? He was training Adi Maffey, is it?
Adi Maffey.
I've got a video on here of him doing 200, unless it was him that did it in 21.9 or something, and he was just behind him. Hey, but they're doing 200 meters, and it's in from your area on your man. Well, I don't know what particular village around your area. Well, they don't have villages where you live, do they? You know what I mean, don't you? They were on your area, and they were doing sprinting.
Hey, I imagine he's fast, but when you're running, if you're running sub 21 on the 200,
yeah,
you're elite, Porky. Like you're elite. Like I think
might be sub 22. Let me try and find it. I've got it on here.
Yeah, because running sub 21, you that means your running technique's on point, your power's on point, your speed's on point.
They were doing sprinting with this ex-Olympic Team GB guy, and they were doing some. He looked like he was doing all right to me. David Haye.
That's how you get injured as well.
There were David Haye there. They were doing all sorts of explosive stuff. I'm going back when he were fighting Mormac. David Haye. Sprinting. YouTube. But he impressed me. Listen, I was a David Haye, bit of a David Haye groupie back in the day, wasn't I?
Well, I didn't know you back in the day, Porky.
David Haye were putting people to kit. Let me tell you, when he burst on scene, he were putting people to kit. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'll find
people don't talk about the damage Porky Russ used to do. Do you know what I mean?
What, in fridge?
Hey, everywhere, man. Like no one was safe. You know what I mean? What was that? Payday Friday, Porky Russ would show up. Like, hey, you guys know what time it is.
Payday. That was school dinner time.
Porky was like, no representation without taxation.
Taxation? You'll get me a bad name, you. Calla. What's happening with Calla at the moment? He's gone quiet. cow Sauerland.
Well, remember his cash cow is Eubank, right?
Yeah.
So without that, like he's just treading water. But he's also focused more on the Misfits stuff. That's his thing now. Misfits is his thing. And they're going to leave the other stuff to Nisa, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, he seems pretty decent in that Nisa. He comes across all right, I think.
Well,
But they're both
he's just
Silver
not his
Spoon
brother.
boys, aren't they, Terry? They're both Silver Spoon boys.
Yeah, I always wonder why they don't get the same stick Eddie Hearn does, because that's how they got in the game, right?
Yeah, yeah. Where do you see Eddie now then? Because a lot of people are saying that it's gobble, 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 slurp, 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 slurp. Or is he just doing the best for his fighters? My fighters are like my family.
He's doing the best for his fighters, like he should be. Like, you know, when you work for others, you have to put your ego to the side. Like, it can't be about you.
Yeah.
It's got to be about, like, if I'm managing you, Porky, I'll go put you above my own interests.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bean looks like he's back on scene.
Yeah, yeah. Remember I told you, man, I saw him round here not long ago. He looked in a bad way, but clearly he's come round the other side. And so credit where credit's due to him.
Yeah.
I've always said I like Adam Smith. I think the Sky product is weaker without him. But, you know, if he doesn't go back, I can understand why not.
He ain't going back.
Where's he going to zone?
Well, he's definitely not going to Sky, definitely not going back there. So I would assume he will be hanging out the back of Eddie Hills now to get on at the zone. And he's got the credentials, but in my opinion, I think he's had his day. And we need to give other young people an opportunity like Beam were given
No.
an opportunity. Why not?
No. Who do you want on there?
Well, they need somebody like Dev Sandwich, don't they? Some young lad coming through. We want to see some new blood, don't we?
It's got to. I'm not waiting for you to learn on the job, if that makes sense, Russ. Like, if you want to replace Adam Smith, you will be straight in there.
Yeah. Oh, me?
So, no. Whoever replaces
it. I couldn't do it. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know
so
who could do it. I don't know who could do it.
yeah, I think when we talk about young voices, you need a bit of gravitas on there, because I'd understand it if you had one of them older, experienced fighters alongside him to help him through. But if you're focused more on stuff like, yeah, we're going to get young fighters in as well, like an Andy Lee, then you need some gravitas behind that microphone.
Yeah, what do you think to Andy Lee's punditry skills?
Not a fan. Just not a fan. Don't think it's particularly good.
Weekend. I think he was biased.
I just think he's. Do you remember when they used to have Andy Lee every so often, and you would think that he knew so much, and people blow smoke up his backside about all this Kronk stuff, but he churns out the same stuff all the time. It's just generic, and it's hard. It's hard to be original. It's hard to be creative on the spot. I 100% get that, but he doesn't give you anything Froch wouldn't give you. He doesn't give you anything Clinton wouldn't give you. He doesn't give you anything Prince Nassim wouldn't give you. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, and they were longer world champions than Andy Lee, weren't they?
Just more respected world champions.
Yeah, well, Andy Lee only didn't have his belt long, did he?
Nah.
Yeah, WBO. I don't know. I know he would be. I remember him knocking somebody's son out with a big puncher, and he were getting thrashed in this fight, and he pulled something out of nowhere.
John Jackson.
John Jackson's son, and he put him on button moon, didn't he?
Oh, he threw that right hook out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, and it were a devastating punch. It were like Derry Matthews, Tommy Coyle. You know, everybody jumps up, or Groves frocked. You know, in the first round. You know, you stand up. You know, one of them moments where everything's silent. You know, for like 2 seconds, and you're like, "Wow!" You know, one of them punches. Yeah. One of them Andy Lee's punch, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you can remember he was up against I think it was against the ropes, and the shot just came off.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
that's
raw
the
instinct.
style, isn't it? They were saying, "Oh, that's the Kronk style." But what happened against Chavez? Where were it then? The Kronk style.
Yeah.
We didn't see it against Chavez, did we?
But they just throw that stuff in aimlessly, Russ. It's always just, oh, this Kronk that. It's not really. Like, I think that Kronk stuff is massively oversold. Like, it is. Like, if Emmanuel Stewart didn't have you and didn't have you. In fact, was there even a Kronk style? I don't think there was. Because from what I remember of the Kronk, there were so many different trainers who produced so many different fighters, Russ, that
Yeah.
it was a good gym without there being a distinct Kronk style. There may be an Emmanuel Stewart style, but, Kronk style, not so sure. Because like guys like Bill Miller were affiliated to the Kronk as well, and they produce different kinds of fighters. And
Yeah.
it's not good enough saying, oh, to be a Kronk fighter, you have to have a good jab. No, to be a good professional boxer, you have to have a good jab, for God's sake.
Yeah. I'm trying to think now. Robert Smith. Now, Talksport have given some stick today, Simon Jordan and the other guy, and they're saying that what is the point of the British Boxing Board of Control if they can't deal with the situation with Krusher Benn, old omelette head? Why are they calling him omelette head? Oh yeah, because of eggs. Yeah, I get that now. Yeah. Because I kept thinking, is his head shaped like an omelette? It's because of eggs, isn't it? Yeah. I sometimes I get jokes late me. I think I look at it. I think, well, why are people in comment section? I keep reading about omelets. Is he on omelets or something? And then somebody said, no, it's eggs. Got them for eggs, didn't he? But he said it weren't eggs. Then they said it were, didn't they? Now it in. So which is it? Because I'm confused.
Conor Benn. What do they want to do with Conor Benn? He's not licensed. There's nothing they can actually do.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Now,
this.
if
Sorry.
I was say, look, if they say a condition of Conor Benn being licensed again is he's going to have to serve a ban, then that'd be very interesting. But at no point have they updated their rules, by the way. Post Conor Benn, they haven't updated their rules to say that we can look at VADA. They've done nothing. So I can see why people are asking questions about the board, but well, waste of time. Like, my view on the board is much like the Premier League. We need independent regulation. We need regulation where these guys are scared to act out of line.
Well, it needs something because sooner or later something's got to give because Boom Gardner's running around with a Vindicator t-shirt on, saying she's been vindicated, but people are more or less saying, listen, we're going to take PEDs and we've got that much money behind us. Come and take us on. That's how it looks to me.
So all you have to do, Russ, let's say my license lapses in December. I just don't renew it. No one's going to test me. So I don't renew my license. I take whatever I want. Yeah, I'll go absolutely crazy on it. Wash everything out. Make sure my tests come back clean. Reapply for my license and crack on.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm a clean boxer.
Well, something's got to give sooner or later with it because what's going to happen is somebody's going to end up hurt seriously, and then something will happen. The government will step in, won't they? Got to do, haven't they?
What we need to start doing is the board should have, by every fighter, this is what should happen in boxing for me. This is when you know the board are doing their job. The board should say, for every fighter, yeah, name, date of birth, all that sort of stuff, their record, who's training them, who's managing them, and how long their license has been valid. We should know all the years and all the gaps in the license. And then there should be another rule that says, when you retire, you can never box again. Then you won't see these retirements and comebacks. This should be when you retire, you can never come back.
Well, that's good, isn't it? But too many people want to come back, don't they? Because they feel like they've got something left in basement.
Well, they see the money looking good and they're like, yeah, I need some of that. But it's like, your time's passed.
Daniel Dubois is going to fight Jarrell Miller. Bricktop got all bent out of shape when he were asked about it, about having Miller on the show. Nobody else has said a word since. Do you feel that the media at the moment are not pushing like they are? Because you've got people like Joshua saying, I don't want to talk to Dev Sani. We've got Fury refusing talk sport, and Conor Benn storming out of certain interviews and getting frosty with people. Is nobody allowed to challenge the status quo?
So I think this is a tricky one, Porky. Got to word this one appropriately because I know the comment section will go crazy on this one.
Spencer Fearon nailed it a couple of weeks ago about all this, and I'm not his biggest fan, but I thought he nailed it.
Here's what happens, right? A lot of times in the media, we can get personal about boxers, yeah? And it's no longer about the issue. And if someone says the British Boxing Board of Control are not fit for purpose, and they can give you reasons why, that's a very valid discussion to have. If you call the British Boxing Board of Control a bunch of idiots, that's crossing a line. I can understand why someone might say we're not talking anymore. If someone says, look, Tyson Fury's career is 3 or 4 great fights and the rest are mediocre, that's fine. Let's have that discussion. But if people say Fury's a coward, he's scared, he does this, now you're attacking him as a person. I can see why he'd be offended by that. Do you know what I mean? So where is that line? Because some of the stuff that Dev Sani has said has been quite close to the line about Joshua. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So I can see why Joshua would be offended. So
why Joshua pull him and say, listen, you've said some whatever about me in the past and I don't want to talk to you.
I pulled him publicly because the stuff was said publicly.
Well, and you know what bothers me in all this, right? Listen, are you telling me they're going to like each other, Bricktop and Eddie Hills? No, but the actual weaselness of it from both of them Weasley behaviour. That they should call them Ron Weasley. That's how I look at it, mate. They've done that. They've done much damage to each other and tried to take each other's businesses out of it years. And all of a sudden, when there's a few quid about, they all want to put their arms around each other and say, let's pretend to be besties. Let's be fake mates just for the next few months for Yarde season. And I look at it and I think, sure, God, they're supposed to be men's men. Warren gives his opinion, old Bricktop Warren, that he's like a man's man and a geezer and macho and tough and old school. And look, when it comes down to it, they're just grubby little promoters after a few quid. That's all it is.
Basically, if the Saudis offered you that money, Russ,
dicks, aren't they?
No, I'm asking you a question, Russ.
Go on.
If the Saudis offered you that money, you're not tap dancing?
No, I won't go out there. I will never go out there for the simple reason. If I'm one of the people, right, I don't have a filter. I won't last long out there. If someone wants that, I won't last long out there, mate. I won't. I've never.
But there you go. That's why you can't do their job.
I won't go. I won't
No, Russ. So what I'm saying is that's why you can't do their job.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
that reason.
For that reason.
Yeah. So when you say they're meant to be men's men, they're businessmen first and foremost, and business means, So business means you got to swallow it. You got to go, right, there you go. I've got a chance to make myself wealthy and make all these other fighters in my stable wealthy. And me making them wealthy means they're loyal to me. And to do that, I've got to tap dance a bit. Yeah, that's what you've got to do.
Well, I couldn't do it. It ain't for me, that.
Yeah, but do you know what I've said? Like, there's an expression my cousin used to use. There are a lot of principled men with no money.
Yeah.
And as long as they're happy, it's cool. But you either want the money or the principles, because very often in life, you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, but when you're a coal miner's son, do you know what I mean? It's bred in us where I'm from. You see what I mean, kind of thing.
No, I don't.
Oh, well, because you're from down there, aren't you?
What does that mean? No, wait. What does that mean?
Well, where you're from down London and that, and they don't have like it's a little bit different where you live to where we live up here. There's a lot of more
Why?
principles where I just think there is. I've
No, I
seen it.
think is that I don't believe that at all.
Oh, well, I do. So we don't
No,
agree, do we?
no. Wait. But you can't just say because someone's from somewhere else they've got different principles. I don't believe that's
Okay, then.
true at
Well,
all.
I personally, that ain't for me. That ain't for me, right? Listen, okay then. Well, when I got my big sentence, right, and before we went up them stairs, they says to me, right, you tell us who them other three people are, and you're going home today. And I went, no, because I'd done 20 months on remand, and I went, no. And they went, right, and I got my porridge, right? That's
Right?
where I'm from. That's principles up
No,
there.
no, no. Is it bollocks? I can
Oh,
take
no,
you to
all right. So I put everybody. Hang on a
Russ,
minute. No, no, I'm
hold on,
not arguing with you. No, no, no. Listen to me.
No, wait, hold on.
You're telling
No,
me
we're not.
Bricktop comes out on IFL every 2 minutes, going on about this, going on about that, and what he is and what he is. At first
What?
chance they get, him and Eddie Hearn are sucking each other's cocks for a few quid. I have a problem with that after the last
Why?
13 years of seeing these go back and forth, hammering each other. And now all of a sudden there's a bit of loot at the end of it. And they all want to grease up with baby oil from Flex. No
Why
way.
did you believe it was real?
I actually thought the beef for real 13
Why?
years. Realised it isn't.
Is that what they is that what they breed into you up north?
No, I just got the impression that they couldn't stand each other. And I think it's weaselly behaviour, them now being
I
in bed
don't.
together.
I don't. I think that's what happens in Coronation Street, right? What was that guy's name? Les Battersby does this. He shags this person. It's soap opera stuff, Russ.
Les Battersby don't get any mins
Is he
in.
still around?
I
No, but
told
see,
Bruce
but
Jones.
Russ, it's on your shoulders, right?
Yeah, go on.
You've got to be able to sit there and go, I'm Porky's Corner.
Yeah.
My job is to see what happens and make content out of it.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
No, but the minute you try and position yourself as this man of principle, you're gonna turn your fans off you because they're like, no, wait, because
Go on,
wait, no, let me explain.
Go on.
Your business is predicated on somebody else doing something, right? If Frank Warren doesn't talk, what's Russ going to talk about?
I'll talk about somebody else. If Frank Warren
what I'm saying to you.
tomorrow, I won't lose a fucking minute sleep.
No. But if boxing stops tomorrow, then what?
I'm all right. I do other things, don't I? I'm okay. I can do.
No. What's Porky's Corner going to do?
If boxing stops tomorrow, I'd just change it up and do something else.
Rugby league?
Would I fuck do rugby league? It's not for me, that. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know, but
but you see what I mean? It's an ecosystem, Russ. So when you say that they're sucking on the cocks of the Saudis, mate, it's an ecosystem. Like people that we all feed off each other. I
said the Saudis, did I? I said each other. I wasn't bothered about Saudi money. I was bothered about them making out their best mates all of a sudden, but really the fake mates to get a few quid. If you listen to what I said, I was bothered about going to Saudi. I don't want to go to Saudi. I don't doubt if I want to go to Saudi, I'll go get a plane ticket and go. I'll go that fight if I want. I don't want to go there. I don't like going abroad anyway. Listen, I don't like going abroad, but I definitely don't want to go to a country like that where the comes off.
Wait, hold on. Okay, based on that, everyone listening to this today, please pledge 10 quid. And if they do Benn Eubank in the UK, we're going to get Porky a ringside ticket. And he's got to do all fight week, Porky's Corner, the whole fight week. Like, let's all put into that because that will be.
Well, I can't even get into a matchroom show or presser.
It might not be a matchroom show, though. It might be a boxer show.
Well, I'll go then. If they're going to fight on Sky, I'll turn up then. I'll go sit next to Adrian Mole.
I'd love that. That fight week with Porky Russ just milling around.
Me and Scott Brunt sat there in vests next to Adrian Mole. Listen, mate, you've got to look at it from my point of view, right? I've given Eddie loads of stick over the last since 2017, right? Fair enough, and he's deserved it because since Joshua fought Vladimir, everything they promised us fell apart for Eddie, and it since 17. We both agree on that, don't we? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. So all of a sudden, for these two to try and outdo each other all these years and all the vileness, and there's a lot, it cuts pretty deep what these two have been doing to each other, these two families. And then all of a sudden, somebody's dangling a carrot and everything's all forgotten. I have a problem with that because I look at them and I think, well, they're not real men, are they really? I think they sold the souls to each other. Frank Warren needs him and Eddie needs Frank. That it's a needy relationship, isn't it? They need Joshua out there, don't they, for commercial? That's how I look at it.
Well, no, so I can tell you what happened. Everyone got a talking to. Everyone got a talking to. Bob, everybody got a talking to.
We've been telling them a talking to for 10 years. They've not been listening. We've been screaming for them to work together and they wouldn't. Are you telling me, right, if these Saudis, right, weren't involved at the moment, that these two pricks would be working together? I don't believe it.
Well, that's why I just
together.
That's what I've just said, right? They got the talking to. Yeah. They got told this is how it's going to go.
Yeah.
That's what they got told. They said, this is how it's going to go. Take it or leave it. And they were like, we ain't got nothing better. We're going to take it.
They've got nothing, have they, at the moment? Nothing. They're in no
man's but let's be very clear. Even Eddie's admitted it. This was Frank's gig that he's a part of.
Oh, he knows it's his gig. Did you see him do it Royal Wave?
No, good. No, wait. But good, Russ. Because like I've said to you on numerous occasions, you can't have your cake and eat it. You're a guy that says, I just want fighters to be paid what they're worth.
Yeah, I do.
Right? So make your mind up. Do you want fighters to get paid what they're worth, or do you want
Eddie I want them to be paid what they're worth, but let's have it right.
No. Bollocks.
You keep talking over me.
Choose one or the other.
Talk. Right. They're going out to Saudi, right? Can Joe Bloggs in the street afford to go out there? No. And if he can, hang on a minute, right? I've got pals around here who go to all boxing shows. They can't afford to go to Saudi. And if you go out there, you can't have a pint anyway. So that's two problems. And why do we have to go out there 4 times a year for these big shows? Why can't they get them on at UK? We've got a big national stadium there. Ain't that good enough for your Furies and your Joshuas and the rest of them, earning millions of that? I mean, when does it end? What we're going to do? What we're going to have next? Man United and Man City playing Premier League in Saudi. Is that what we're going to have next?
Yes, that's exactly what you're going to get.
Is that good? Is that good then for all football fans in England who can't afford to keep going out there? It's bad.
Listen,
it's good for players, bad for fans.
You either want the boxers to get paid or you don't.
All right then. Fuck the boxers, fight in UK, greedy bastards going to Saudi. How's about that? I've said it, Anna. How's that feel?
Okay.
Why is everybody parked up now? We've got kids 10-0 wanting to get a match room. The 15-0 ones are knocking fights back. Do you know why? Because they're waiting for Saudi, because the managers are inventing knackers, or they're speaking to somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and they think there might be that little chance that they might just get that Saudi call. So everybody's parked up. So how are people going to put shows on in UK?
Well, as you said, Russ, if no one can afford to go to Saudi, then you all should be buying tickets for these local shows. But no one's going to these local shows. What's the last local show you went to, Russ?
Well, I think it was one of Dennis's.
So
a month ago.
So all that talk about shows being unaffordable is great, but no one's going to the bread and butter shows.
Yeah, because the shite that's on. You've got people, we're losing records fighting people who are like 7, 8, 9, and 10-0. And they're padding the records out. These kids are not learning nothing. But there's no for them to fight. So it's no good me saying, oh, so-and-so's not fighting anybody. Well, what are they going to match him with? Because then they should be matching them with, or with a similar record. Listen, you go back so many years, we had DeGal and Groves got at it, didn't they, after about 10 fights apiece, something like that. I was like, wow, that's really good. I was impressed by that. Where's the next DeGal Groves? 2 like novices going at it who are really good, highly decorated amateurs. Where's that now?
But remember, I asked you earlier.
Why ain't Ben Whittaker going at it with somebody who's a similar ilk to him instead of knocking over stiffs?
Well, he's not 10-0 yet, is he?
But he soon will be. He should have had about 10 fights by now, shouldn't he? Or
injuries.
At least 8. He's only had a couple, hasn't he? Really, he's more or less parked up, isn't he? Why is that?
No, injuries. He's been injured.
Okay. What about that other kid? How many fights has he had?
Which kid?
Pat McCormack, how many fights has he had?
Same problem, injuries. Didn't you see him? I think he had shoulder surgery. Well, actually, mate, this is a discussion point. No, why are so many GB kids getting shoulder and back surgeries?
All of them are getting. I heard one other day. Yeah, it's spinal. I don't know who it was. Somebody was telling me one of them was going for some X-ray on something at the bottom of his back or something. And I'm like, that's another one. Oh,
Yeah.
what are they doing to him up there?
All these boys are coming out and either coming up broken or having to get fixed after 2 or 3 fights. Cordina, look at Cordina's career because he's had to get himself patched up every so often.
Yeah.
That's another reason, Russ, why we don't get the fights we want. A lot of these kids are broken.
Well, Pat McCormack's 5-0 now, right? And he's top 10 in Britain on welterweight, right? Now, I'd like to see him getting in with somebody like Chris Conger, you know, later on next year. So he should be calling out somebody like that, shouldn't he? And getting a move on with his career.
Yeah. I think he dusted him in the amateurs, or it was him or Josh Kelly dusted him in the amateurs.
Well, I'd like
so
to
why
see
not?
that because Chris Conger still it makes. He's only 14-2. Echo Kuzman got beat, didn't he? Fair enough, but something like that for him, him next year, this time next year, or in about 9-10 months, Pat McCormack.
Yeah.
These guys need to start getting a move on, mate. I look at him, I think, what's going on? Whatever happened to somebody having 8 or 10 fights in the first 12, 13 months, Terry? Do you remember them good old days where they kept getting kids out and, oh.
There isn't the money, Russ.
Yeah.
So here, but here's the problem. Hardly anybody goes to boxing shows, right? All those people that call themselves hardcore boxing fans, they don't go to shows.
Because there's garbage on, isn't there? There's got to be.
Well, no, wait. No. There's no money, so you can't make big fights. The way you make big fights is you've just got to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's that kid you told me about? Nice kid as well. Tegan Stott.
Oh yeah, Glyn Rhodes' kid, he was 15-year-old. He was sparring men and holding his own. Yeah, big 6'2" kid, didn't he? Like heavyweight. Yeah, 178. Yeah,
mate, he's still going. Yeah. Why doesn't all your fans get behind that kid? Wherever he fights, go.
He's a good fighter, him.
Yeah. So this is what you should do, Russ. Pick a fighter like him, get all your guys to get behind him, buy tickets, go to shows, see how quickly they put him in hard fights. Because then it's economic to do it. Right now I can pay someone 10, 15 grand to fight him. But if it's all just internet love, if it's all just, hardcore love online, no one's going to make the fights because the fans are asking for it. Pay for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, look at
Josh. It's like this, Russ. Let's be honest, Russ. Yeah? You've got a hierarchy when it comes to Porky's Corner.
Yeah.
There are the people who contribute to the content. Then there's the members. Then there's the viewers.
Yeah.
All get treated differently, don't they?
What do you mean by differently?
Because different levels. Like if I ring you, Russ, and say, "Yeah, Russ, what about doing this as a show?" You're gonna listen to me more than a guy who just views it because you're like,
"Well, I've known
he's
you
involved."
about 8 years, haven't I? I've known you about.
Yeah. And also, I've put into this. I've helped with the numbers.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. If someone is paying 60 quid a year, or is it 70 now, and they say, Russ, what about this episode? You'll be like, he's a member, he's put money in. I'll entertain the thought. I may not do it, but I'm going to entertain the thought. But if there's some random guy who just writes in the comments, Russ, you should do this. You're like, well, why? Who cares?
No, I do listen to when people say, but some of it's a bit, some of it can be a bit bizarre. Some of it good ideas.
Yeah.
For example, look at this. This is my argument here, right? Josh Wales, a promoter now, he's got his promoter's license. He's got a show on in Barnsley, right? And this is who he's got on. This is 10th of Feb. And he'll be trying his hardest to get these kids matched. Dempsey Whaley's brother, 10-0, 1 stoppage, 27-year-old. Everybody Dempsey's fought got a losing record. And they've been trying to match him, but they can't get anybody. Kerry Orton, she's, sorry, 2 seconds. Kerry Orton, she's 0-4, right? 0-4, a girl. What? Who are they going to match her with? Do you know what I mean? And she's own fighter. Do you see where I'm coming from? It's hard out there, isn't it? What? What's funny about that? I'm just saying it's hard to match people now, isn't it? I think so.
That's cold. I like you said that you delivered that such a cold way. She's 0-4. I was like, oh my god. But okay, so how much money?
She's 0-4 and she's own fighter and she's fighting TBA 0-4. 36-year-old and she's had 24 rounds, right? And she's not won a fight and she's chief support from Parson Cross Chef